I'm Walker Matudio.
Justin Allen.
We're doing our project on water bottles.
Many people have it confused when they say tap water is bad for you, when in fact it's actually safe for you. So in this slide it says in both Canada and the United States, tap water has more strict safety regulations than bottled water. Tap water is also constantly tested by municipalities to maintain safety and quality. Over here, it asks the question, what is the source of bottled water in the U.S.? And according to this pie chart, 45% of tap water is actually sourced, compared to elsewhere, where it has 55%. And then right here it says 45% of bottled water sold in the United States is actually sourced from the tap. So brand stores that we're drinking, such as Aquafina and Dasani, are tap water, so don't let that fool you. And then it says, unless you lived in a rural area without water treatment facilities, chances are water coming from your tap is perfectly safe, like I said. Oops. And then I'm going to be talking about the environmental impact. So bottled water takes 2,000 times more energy to produce than tap. 68 billion plastic bottles are thrown out each year in the US. Plastic bottles can take up to 1,000 years to decompose in a landfill. And then it says each year it takes 76 billion barrels of oil to produce, transport, store, and dispose of the plastic bottles used in the United States. That's enough to fuel 4.3 billion cars for a year. And then at the bottom, it talks about the cost. It costs 0.8 cents to $2 for a 500 milliliter bottle of water, compared to tap water, where it says it costs less than 0.01 cents for a 500 milliliter water. Next slide. So the production of water bottles. Water bottles are made up of polyethylene terephthalate, also known as PET plastic. It takes 1/4 of a bottle. It takes 1/4 of a bottle of oil to actually produce a single water bottle, and then 90% of bottled water's cost comes from actually making the bottle. And then over here it says it takes 17 million barrels of oil to make 1 year's supply of bottled water. That much oil can fuel 1.3 million cars for a year, or it could also power 190,000 homes. And then on the right it says bottling water releases about 2.5 million tons of carbon dioxide into the air annually. Environmental hazards. Plastic waste is washed or dumped into the ocean and kills 1.1 billion marine creatures yearly. In an article I was reading, it said that where is it? It said that a sperm whale that was washed ashore in Indonesia had 13 pounds of plastic waste in its stomach, and I found that really sad. 38 billion water bottles end up in the U.S. landfills each year, and that is more than 2 billion tons yearly. Over here.
Alright, so changes that have been tried is, of course, recycling. Most people may not realize that, but recycling saves Earth's natural resources. By replacing plastic goods, for example, factories don't expend much money to manufacture new plastic products from petroleum, and they save on mining and extraction costs and preserving fossil fuels and other natural resources. Recycling also cuts back on energy consumption, and by recycling plastic bottles alone, companies save up to 60% of the cost to make new bottles. So, fun fact I learned is that from the University of Central Oklahoma, when manufacturers recycle, they cut air pollution by 73%, water pollution is cut by 35%, And by recycling steel, it reduces 97% of the mining waste produced through manufacture and cuts 86% of air and 76% of water pollution. Recycled glass decreases mining waste by 8% and air pollution by 20%. And here's my fun little slide where recycling can be fun. You can make a game out of it. So, another advancement that has been made is Just Water and its sustainability. So, 2015, Jaden Smith helped create Just Water, and is the only U.S. sourced spring water bottle in a paper-based carton that gives back directly to the community which it came from in Glen Falls, New York. So, Just Water is made from renewable resources that can be grown naturally. 54% paper from certified forests, 28% plant-based plastic, 15% traditional plastic, and 3% aluminum, and 100% BPA free. So, in this video, we have here is Jaden Smith.
The state that the world's in, it just really needs help. Anything to do with educating and helping to push the movement of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is something that I want to be a part of. We need more people that are really talking about these hard problems, because that's where your invention can come in. That's when your innovation can come in. I'm Jaden Smith, and I am one of the founders of Just Water. The reason that I wanted to start Just was because I saw so much plastic out in the world. I saw what happens when plastic goes to waste in our environment and how it affects us. That's when I really felt like I really needed to do something and make a difference. So I'm trying to eliminate as much plastic as possible.
Just is a company that was kind of formed with a collaboration between Jaden and I when he had some simple questions about the environment that grew into larger, more complex questions. And we just sort of used our creative heads and looked to find the answers that we thought were important for people to understand and were important to put into a new kind of business. Bottled water is sometimes marketed as something of quality, but it's really about convenience. People are much busier, they're on the go. Looking at the way bottled water was currently done, that there was really a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, we looked at this business and said, let's look at every part of this and see if there's not just a slightly better way, but a completely different and almost revolutionary way. The way we package it, the way we bring it out of the ground, the contract we have with the city, the relationship we have with the community and the customers. The idea is to kind of reinvent every part of that.
Well, looking beyond the packaging, we wanted to address the innovation around how water is acquired from either a public or private source. There's a tremendous amount of water up here in upstate New York. Glens Falls in particular has 1.7 billion gallons of water that are not being used. And so we said, hey, listen, why don't we create this new kind of model where we can help you commercialize your water and it can be a new source of revenue for the city.
We really wanted to help the jobs and the infrastructure of the city and really bring life and kind of bring a sense of community. It's environmental change, but it's also social change.
Where is there a workforce? Then where could you affect change of employing people where maybe jobs have escaped?
Almost half of the buildings in downtown Glens Falls were either empty or idle. Building a net new building is not the right answer. Figuring out how to take some of this already in place real estate and put it back to work, that means sustainability to your core. So we took an empty church and turned it into a factory.
We kind of took it as an opportunity of we could revitalize this and we could really make a difference.
They wanted to help us fix our infrastructure. So with the revenue that we're going to get from Just, it'll help us solve our problems, which we have, which all small cities have.
When this first came out, it was at 50% renewability until we switched this cap right here to being plant-based plastic made from sugarcane in a place in Brazil. Then we pushed the bottle all the way to 82% renewability.
So every part of this is more efficient. One pallet of our material is equal to more than 20 trucks of pre-blown plastic bottles. That efficiency maps itself out into the rest of our process as well.
While we're continuing to try to make this out of 100% renewable resources, we need people thinking about how to make solar panels more efficient and how to build homes for people in rural countries, to educate other young people on the environment and how you can be a part of the change. That's been a dream come true for me my entire life.
And Just STEM is at the center of everything we do. From the coders that keep our factory machines running, to the biologists that test and keep our products safe, to the environmental engineers that assess our carbon footprint and beyond. If you like projects that want to change the world, then STEM learning is your ticket in.
STEM is everything, honestly.
Montclair, I have a question. Where can we buy Just Water?
You can buy Just Water at a lot. But they actually started coming in stores a lot in around what else? Whole Foods and all that stuff. So just to recap, what he was saying was that so he saw this when he was young. So he saw a lot of plastic all over the oceans.
Because he was a surfer.
Yeah. At first, it started at 50% renewability, but once they changed the cap to sugarcane from Brazil, it boosted up to 82%. And yeah, that's Oh, in addition, through third-party verification with the Just Bottle today, there's a 74% reduction in carbon emissions with Just Water compared to an average medium-weight plastic bottle. So the last thing we want to talk about, or advancement that has been made, was of course Hydro Flask. So Hydro Flask is a proud developer of all insulated water bottles, a groundbreaking design that keeps water cold for up to 24 hours and hot drink steaming for up to 6 hours. It's stainless steel and aluminum bottles, which are durable and BPA free and lighter than glass. Last longer, can be used daily. So you see a lot of college students bring them around. One of the problems with production of Hydro Flask is extraction. For extraction, you have to mine the ingredients, which is a chromium and nickel and ore, which requires mining, which exposes workers to cancers, and requires energy-intensive heating and releases toxic material in the air. So manufacturing stainless steel out of chromium ore has 10 times more pollution than regular steel. However, mills if they use recycled iron or make single layer designs, environmental impacts reduced by 10 to 50%. Distribution. Shipping the bottle from a factory in Asia is tightly packed in a cargo container, adds only about 1 to 5% environmental burden. On the other hand, heating, cooling, and ventilation in stores affects the earth negatively. For the use of Hydro Flask, bacteria builds up. Using electrically heated water, about 50 to 100 washes can result in the same pollution that it caused by making the bottle. A way you could reduce that and cut that is hand wash it with cold water. And the last part is the hardest part, which is disposal. So steel lasts forever. So the best solution to help the earth is go to a steel recycler. By doing that, it reduces the need to mine for nickel or chromium. So our plan for the future is our personal pledge is make a personal commitment to stop buying plastic water bottles. Instead, purchase reusable water bottles such as a Hydro Flask, or get a sink or jug mounted filter at home. Use a reusable bottle wherever you go to school, gym, or work. In addition, I'll probably invest or support and campaign for Just Water, because its sustainability is something that we got to teach the youth. And for a work pledge, I'll take that as.
So like a personal pledge to limit plastic water bottle waste, you can also promote the same efforts in your workplace. Prominently display recycling bins throughout the office so employees are inspired to recycle. And you could also implement some of the same efforts in the workplace, like at your house, by maintaining a water filtration system. And that is it for our project. Hope you guys enjoyed.